$30,000 a year intake. That's what we've been averaging the last 3 years, being brought in through forfeiture. So.
Is that because of the new laws, or we just don't have the personnel to put out there?
No, well, we have an officer out, for example, with the DEA, and tons of cases that she's developing, and there are many, many dollars that have been seized in property. However, it's not being adjudicated that way. The laws have changed, the rules behind it, and let's just say the red tape, it's just so heavy that nothing's coming back into the department. So,
are any of those funds paying for our officers to be out there? If that money, are those units being separately budgeted from the units they're working with, or are we paying strictly for that officer to be there, but we're not getting anything back?
Right, that's what I was going to ask.
It's a combination.
Is it worth having somebody in that department? If it's not, normally we'd have people work in those departments and we would get return on that, correct?
Yeah, absolutely correct, and the answer is twofold with this. They do cover overtime costs up to a certain dollar, and our officers aren't going over that, so that part is covered. But however, we are paying that salary, we are paying those benefits. And historically, we had success not only receiving financial support from them, but also logistical support. If we had festivals or special events or homicides, any type of major crime, we could call on these units to get their manpower. So we would have not just our one officer that was out there, we would also have the entire task force would support us. So those were also the benefits that entails being part of these task force. Unfortunately, we understand the money side of it. Our officer out in the DEA, we're scheduled to bring her back in June at our shift change because financial reasons and manpower. We're having a difficult time recruiting people in. Our numbers are down, as most police departments are. It's a tough sell for people at this point.
The other thing I was just wondering, what I was thinking about is if we would have had that kind of money coming in, would it have been, if we used different money, can we pay, probably Jason had to answer this, if this was money that we had coming back from these units back to the city, could we replenish paying back, putting the money back into funded through the general fund once we use that money? Or once do we spend it, we can't replenish it using monies from these units, correct? Forfeiture could not pay back what we're using.
It has to go back into the fund. Yeah, you can't replenish general fund money.
Yes, that's what I was wondering.
That is correct. Forfeiture money is a restricted source, so if it came back, then we would have to put the money back into a forfeiture.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Item 6.2 is a motion to approve Alta Power Systems low quote to the purchase of new backup generator for the police department for an amount not to exceed $83,000 or amount of $83,960 plus a 5% contingency for a total amount of not to exceed $88,158, and this is funded through the Building and Grounds Capital Outlay.
This is 6.3, right? You said 6.3.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, well, that's okay. I'm just checking to make sure.
Took my glasses off. So, is there any questions on that?
Well, Guido looks like he wants to talk.
Right. Well, I know I asked.
He's like, I'm ready.
To give a background, Guido and I had asked him about it, and there was so much money to pay basically for repairs. It was just best to.
Yeah. We have annual,
in my opinion.
Council, good evening. We have annual maintenance performed on these, load bank testing, oil change, filters, etc. What they do when they put them on a load bank, they put them on about 85 to 90% run, and they want to make sure there's no faults or anything that's going to fail. The police unit has a hole in the radiator that has surfaced, which is common. I mean, it's 23 years old almost. And the fear is it's about 16 grand to have a radiator built. It's not as if you get a stock item. And in the process of that, they have to take that unit offline. So you have to bring a backup unit in because it's a police department. So we were approaching north of $20,000 to do that for a 23-year-old unit. And when it comes to police and fire departments, first responders, you have to have generators at work. You have prisoners in there, things of that nature. So we thought it best to replace it as opposed to replace the radiator. Then in 2-3 years have a block heater go or have failure on something else. And the police department just can't be without power.
Thank you, Guido. Item 6.4 is a motion to approve services to enhance potential lowest responsible vendor. for cleaning services at municipal buildings for the amount of $97,440 annually, plus the cost of supplies and as-needed services for an amount of $24,000. This is funded through Building and Grounds Repairs and Maintenance.
Is this the same company we have now?
This will be a new company.
new company?
This is a new company. They were low when we put it out for services for bid. This was the low quote, and we did the scoring system, check references, and we're going to give them a try. It's a new company.
So this is the company where the ladies are always cleaning and stuff out there, or is this something
The
totally
same
different?
service, but it will be a new company, correct. Where
Oh.
they clean here, the court, the fire department, the library, different city buildings throughout the city. This is that contract, correct.
Rita, do we have an out clause if they're not performing?
We do. It is listed in there. I do believe it's 30, I believe. We can give a 30-day notice, pretty standard. But we can if they're not performing, and we'll definitely monitor that through the department heads and the supervisors.
You know if the new company has an intention of retaining the current staff there?
I do not. I truly do not know that. I could ask. I could reach out. I didn't ask that when we did the vetting process.
I know that's been my experience, that they usually at least interview them,
Yeah.
retain it.
I could ask that to the direct there.
That's
Yeah.
kind of what I was wondering, because the women that do the cleaning in here are just awesome. I think they are, anyway, so.
The thing is, though, STEP is a nonprofit organization that does, I think it's part of their job training program.
Yeah.
So I think they would have to qualify, I believe.
I can ask those questions, but they do seem like truly a good company. Their reviews that we had got when we reached out, it's a great service they provide, and the training that they give
We've worked with
it's
STEP
pretty
that
top
were
notch.
not for janitorial necessarily, but I would agree that.
It's a wonderful program.
I believe this is part of, because I was actually going to vote them out at work as well for janitorial. So like we have at work like a senior employment training program where, you know, you have to meet certain income, age obviously, and we pay them to do on-the-job training, to do tasks. I mean, they're not necessarily training, they're tasks.
Absolutely, and I'll ask them to do the vetting process with the currents if it's something they would want to do, and I can offer their contact information up to them. Or I'm sure that, you know, I don't know if their current company may repurpose them and they want to stay with them, that would be their decision, yeah. Yep. And also to bring forward, I'm not going to have it on here, but we have been doing a lot of the cleaning for COVID. It seems to be ramping up again. I'm sure everyone's aware. It just seems like a lot of times we're getting calls, this vehicle, this department, this building, entire building. So I'm going to monitor that closely, but you may see me back asking for some additional money for the COVID disinfecting and things of that nature, so buildings can stay safe for the employees and the public that enter them.
Thank you. Okay, item 6.5 is a motion to approve April 2021 payroll at the approximate amount of $1,927,000. Question? Item 6.6 is a motion to receive and file February 2021 budget performance report. Do you have any questions on that? Okay. Item 6.7 is a motion to receive and file February 2021 paid invoice report.
I have some, as always. First of all, I just want to say, can you, Jason, tell us the process of how we get this information here? Starts from departments and whatever. Can you explain to me the process of how this shows up on here for us? Because I have a question.
Okay, so the question is, how do you guys get the paid invoice report?
Yeah.
Through the chair to Councilwoman Pat. So, all of the payments, budget and finance starts the payables processing by putting invoices into the system based on everything. And then the invoice report gets generated, a batch gets generated for payment, goes through mayor's approval, clerk's approval, treasurer's approval, in accordance with the charter, and then the treasurer's office cuts the checks. So what happens is, when we get to this reporting, pretty much I just put out the report for payments that were made from the previous month, and then I summarize it on a summary report, and then the detail is on the remainder of the report's the detail of each payment.
So is it coming from a department into to you? say, for example, I'm just gonna pull one off of here, you know, city electric or whatever, is that coming from a department to you and then you put it in here? Who types this in here is what I'm wondering?
Oh, who types it in here?
Yeah.
Mostly, it really depends. If it's paid through a PO, it comes from the PO line item description. So PO line item description is put in at the department level. So if they're paying a PO, they would put the description on, the invoice would come in to pay that PO, and that description would fall over to the invoice. So that would be done at the department level. If the description's going in there that's not a PO, then that's done through budget and finance when we're entering the invoices. Yeah.